Let's carry this conversation forward, talking about what's going on with Joe Rogan. We have this story from timcast.com. Rumble publicly offers Joe Rogan $100 million for a 4-year censorship-free contract. Rumble posted, "Hey, Joe Rogan, we are ready to fight alongside you," saying, "How about you bring all of your shows to Rumble, both old and new, with no censorship for $100 million over 4 years. This is our chance to save the world, and yes, this is totally legit." Based on the reporting about Rumble's special purpose acquisition company, $2.1 billion valuation and potentially $400 million in liquid cash to spend, I think they could do this, but I don't see why Joe Rogan would do this, because it would be basically him saying that he wants to say the N-word. That's the issue right now. So it's like not a good time to offer Joe Rogan $100 million for a censorship-free contract, because the issue at hand is that Joe himself, according to the Spotify CEO, is the one who took down all of the episodes last Friday. But that apology video, man, that Joe put out was a mistake. It's making everything worse. And perhaps the issue is when people say Joe has FU money, maybe it means FU to everybody. And a lot of people who are libertarian, freedom-loving, who want honesty and integrity, assume Joe is on their side, when in reality, Joe is just Joe and just is an honest guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's doing his own thing and doesn't necessarily have a particular ideology, sort of what you're saying.
He's like, obviously, I am offended by the lies of the mainstream press, and I'll call them out, and I stand for that. Joe is offended they lied about him and lie often, but isn't interested in getting involved in a fight to change the future of media. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's true.
Yeah.
He's not a hero. Like, don't put this guy on a pedestal. He's just a dude doing his life, man.
Which also goes to show like how just ridiculous the attacks against him are, because what is his show? They're unfiltered conversations for about 3 hours at a time with people of all different opinions, political persuasions. It's not even all political. And so the fact that, big institutional powers find this guy a threat who just has unfiltered conversations with people.
Yeah. Well, one thing lefties do, and I'm not exactly sure if this has been the case with the Joe Rogan Experience, but I would be very surprised if it wasn't, because it's something you've dealt with. It's something that virtually every large political show that I'm aware of or has spoken about this has dealt with. But left-wing people will refuse to do a podcast if it's hosted too many right-wing people. And so then you only have people who are moderate or on the right doing the podcast. No lefties do it, and then lefties go, "Oh my gosh, why aren't we being represented? Why can our views get out there?"
You're close. It's not that it's too many right-wing people. It's that the host has an opinion contrary to the establishment.
Yes, all right, fair enough. And so they'll go, "I'm not going to go on this podcast." And so I am sure, and again, I can't say for certain, I don't know, I don't speak for Joe Rogan, but I'm sure that there's a lot of left-wing people who absolutely could do the Joe Rogan Experience and let the audience know what their opinions are, but they see Joe Rogan as a non-person. He's an evil bigot, so why even engage with him or his audience?
Kyle Kulinski said that in his episode, Joe never used a slur, but he was very critical of Saudi Arabia, and Spotify has just opened up their market to Saudi Arabia. Some people said that Joe mentioned a song lyric with a slur in it. I don't know. Kyle Kulinski said there was no slur in it. We also have these tweets from Adam Kokesh where he said Joe basically told him Spotify is not allowing him on the show and that they took down his show because it had too much misinformation in it. That sounds to me like that does not sound true, to be completely honest. Like, I don't see Joe Rogan as the kind of guy to like call somebody up and be like, "Dude, I'm so sorry they took your episode down. It's because it was misinformation." Like, those are words that Joe doesn't or probably won't use. So maybe the real issue is that Joe did talk to Adam Kokesh and said something like, "Look, man, Spotify doesn't want, these kind of shows. And there were issues with like the facts, that the things that were being said, they weren't true. So that, they didn't want it on their platform." And then Adam frames it as such, like misinformation, uses those words, right?
Exactly.
But I'll just say, if that statement from Adam is true, then this is crazy. This is seriously crazy. Joe outright being like, Spotify is pulling the strings.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very much he said situation. We don't know.
Well, Joe didn't say anything.
Yeah, well, exactly. So we have one person leveling an accusation, and we have to assume innocence until there's proof of guilt. We have to remain agnostic on this. But I would also say that, well, yeah, that doesn't sound like something Joe Rogan would do to me. I don't know him as a person, and he's also not the kind of person I would have figured as a public apology kind of guy either. So who knows?
Look, I think he views his show as like a little side project, and he wants it in a box, just like wrapped up and not stressing his life out. I saw him on Instagram. He's like, "This is how I'm dealing with all the BS," and it's like they light a piece of gorilla ice cream on fire, and they're like, "And I'm on mushrooms," was part of it. was like, yeah, dude, he just wants to live, man. If it gets too much of a hassle, then it's too much of a hassle. You move on to something else. So